Anton Ferdinand joined West Ham when he was just 9 years old and rose through the ranks of the Premier League. When he was at the top of his game, he found himself the centre of a racism row and says the victims of racism suffer greater consequences than those accused. That's driven his passion for helping to protect players from abuse online. Anton joins me now. Anton, it's absolutely great to see you in the studio. I'll go on to talk about the online safety bill and racism, which you didn't realise until I just told you off camera has actually been dropped from the bill. So we'll talk about that and the implications that has. But I want to ask you, because you come from a similar background to me, what was it like for you growing up in Peckham in your background?
I wouldn't change it for the world, if I'm honest. It's made me who I am today, the grounding that I've got. And it's taught me a lot about life. And as people know, people that follow me on social media know how proud I am to be someone who's associated with Peckham. So I wouldn't change it for the world, and I love every part of it.
Yeah, isn't it funny? Because Liverpool runs through my heart, and exactly the same. And I sometimes wonder, if I'd been born into a family that put a silver spoon in my mouth, who would I be today? And I'd probably be no one, because I just take the easy road and I've done nothing. It is that background, it just drives you, doesn't it, to achieve. What was it like, though? Because it's Rio as well. What was it like growing up in the shadow of your brother?
It was hard.
Big brother,
yeah,
very big brother.
Yeah, exactly. It was hard because playing the same sport, the same position, and coming through at the same football club, obviously the expectations and the comparison was massive.
But you're close, aren't you?
Yeah, very close. But the biggest thing was my family unit. What was always said to me, no matter what's said within the four walls of our flat in Peckham, that's what matters. Anything being said, the noise outside of the flat, we don't care about, because what happens and what's said inside, that's what matters. Yeah. And I always maintain that. And any time I receive negative thoughts or verbals towards me about being Rio's brother, you'll never be as good as Rio, you're rubbish, that type of stuff, always went back to, as long as my mum, my dad and my brother don't think that, who cares, you know? And I was able to have thick skin based on the fact that I was brought up to know that what my family thought mattered more than anything else. Yeah,
Joe, I met Rio and I think I came up to his waist. He's just like towering above
he's
me.
Tall.
Yeah. Did he give you advice? Did he guide you at all? Was he your... I know you're a mentor to other footballers now, young footballers. Did Rio mentor you? Yeah,
he did. That was one of the positives of having someone as your brother who's arguably the best in the world in the same position that you play. So to be able to ask him who I was playing against and what were they like and how did you deal with them, you know, it was very, very helpful. So to have that was really good. I mean, having him as my brother, I always knew that I'd get an opportunity at some point, but I knew straight away, and I picked up quite quickly after leaving school that he weren't going to be on the pitch with me, so I had to make sure I worked hard, and then harder than everybody else, so that when that opportunity came, I was ready. Yeah. You know, and that was the...
When the moment came, it was you, not him.
Exactly, exactly, and so I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't get opportunity because I wasn't his brother. I did. That's natural, but... Yeah. No one can't take away from me the fact that I had to go and do it myself.
Absolutely, Anton, absolutely. So can I talk to you about racism in football? So I was very keen to keep a section online, well, I got and had it through Parliament, a section online safety bill called Legal But Harmful, which protected footballers against racism. Sadly, it's been dropped by the new administration, which was a great sadness to me. But you know, I spoke to footballers, to Rio and others about this. Can you explain how hurtful, how impactful online racist abuse is to people like you, to footballers and professionals like yourself?
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, the ripple effect that it has on you, but not just you, your family. Because it's open, because my page is open, people can read, my family can read it. If I retweet something or I engage with something, or they just go through my people that have added me, then it's there for everyone to see, you know. So the effects ain't just to me; it's to people, my loved ones, that people that are around me. But it's traumatising, if I'm being honest. If you're receiving, I received tens of thousands of abuse daily around the time of the incident and after the incident. I'm talking about the incident with John Terry.
Oh, yeah.
The racial incident. After that, the abuse that I received after that, it's hard to put into words because there was so much of it. And people will say to me, why are you looking through your phone? We know that social media is built to be like a drug.
Yeah.
You know, you're on it, you're addicted to it. And as human beings, you know, you're looking at something that's negative, you're going to search for the positive.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when the positive comes, because you've been through so many negatives, that one positive, them 2 or 3 positives ain't enough to boost your morale.
No, it's not.
You know, so you go searching for more, so you see more negative things. And I think that's what the biggest thing is. And people not understanding the toll that it takes on somebody when typing this abuse out. But what annoys me more than anything is that social media companies, they have the tools to eradicate this and get it off of their platforms, but they just don't want to because it's monetizing for them.
So, Anton, exactly, they earn big bucks from it, from that engagement. They earn big bucks, and that was what the bill did. The bill actually put an onus, a legal responsibility on those online companies to remove that from their sites, or they would have been charged, fined 10% of their annual turnover, which was a lot of money. And it's been dropped, and it's very sad. Can I just ask you one other question, though, which I'm interested in? Because today we've announced the white paper for the football regulator. Do you think that sports governing bodies should consider, when it's player to player, ending the career of a player who engages in racism during a match or on the field? Because the government are not going to go ahead with the legal but harmful. Racism will still be allowed. This bill isn't going to deal with it now. So maybe it's a responsibility of the sports governing bodies to come down hard and say to a player who may be racist to another player, right, that's it, you're out. In your contract, you engage in racism abuse, your contract is over. So to lead, to show a light to both to the fans and others, do you think that should be something which is implemented? I
think you could. It depends on how harsh the abuse is, I would say. Although all abuse has the same effect on people, but I think people can be educated if they make a mistake. I think if people make a mistake and they own it, you know, and they come out and say it was wrong, you know, and they're educated in the right way, I'm a firm believer of that. But what I would say is football needs to look at the punishments in it. How can somebody get a 2-year punishment, a 2-year ban from football for betting, but they get 4 games or 8 games for racial abuse? That tells you that as much as football's saying that it's a problem and it's at the top of the list to deal with, their actions say different.
Yeah. You
know, and I think that's more where it should go to.
And is this the responsibility for this in the Premier League, or is it on... Where would you put it?
I think it's across football as a whole. I think I've had...
But somebody has to take responsibility for that.
I think FA need to take responsibility in that, and I've had conversations with the FA. I mean, we go back to the Bulgaria game where players were getting racially abused, and Gareth Southgate and the team were coming out during the week saying that that if they heard racial abuse, they would walk off the pitch. I know full well as a player, it's hard to go, OK, I'm walking off the pitch. It's hard to do that because we're
throwing away the game.
Exactly, and we're not conditioned to do that. Although, yes, I sit here now and I don't play, it'd be a fantastic thing to do. But when you're in the game, you don't think like that. My problem is, why is the onus always on the player to walk off the pitch? And the coach to get his team off the pitch? Yes, it's easier for the coach, but in that game, the FA had their the governing body there, they had the big wigs there. Why aren't one of them going downstairs and saying, us as a governing body will take this hit, and I'm saying we are coming off the pitch. The FA are going to take it off the pitch because it's easy to abuse a person, but it's harder to abuse and have a feeling to somebody if you're going to abuse the frameworks of an organisation. And I think if one player in the change room went, I don't want to go on the pitch, what's going to happen? The likelihood that's going to come out in the press. That player is going to get abused.
Yeah. It's a difficult one. Actually, what you've done really well is, thank you for talking about that, because how it impacts families You know, as MPs, it's the same. It's the families who read the abuse. But thank you for sharing that. You've highlighted really well what I think is a substantial point about how this abuse just doesn't impact the person who's being abused, but their children, their families, their loved ones, and everyone. It's a number of people who are being abused, and it's so difficult to deal with. And thank you for that.